We're already starting this vlog off rough. Where are my glasses? I can't see anything. Pause. This is already so chaotic. I recorded an intro on Saturday when I started my 24-hour readathon, and I can't find it anywhere. It's nowhere to be found. And I had a moment where I was like, well, you know what? I can't do this video. No. I recorded for 2 days, so we will be having a video. I already had a crash out about it. So, oh my God, look. It's Dragonite. So, I'm re-recording an intro because why not? And we're gonna pretend like it's Saturday. Right now, it is not Monday when I'm editing this video. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go put on that green hoodie and I'm gonna record a new intro. Give me 1 second. So we're gonna pretend like it's Saturday morning, okay? It's not Monday evening when I'm trying to edit this video. 1 second, please. Oh my God, hey guys. So for the last 2 weeks, I have not been reading as much as I've wanted to because I've been fighting demons, those demons being allergies, and I just haven't been in the headspace to read. So it's Saturday morning, it's Monday, but we're gonna pretend it's Saturday. And I decided that I'm gonna do a 24-hour readathon. I've seen several people do this, and I've seen one of two things happen. People either read for 24 hours back to back, like no stop, and then there's people that split it into 2 days. I am going to do the latter because I am a full-time worker and I just don't have the mental capacity at this point in life to read for 24 hours back to back. Like I need my beauty sleep. I need my rest. So because of that, I'm going to be reading for 24 hours and I'm gonna split it up into 2 days. I made myself a little stack of books that I want to get to. I don't know if I'll get to all of them. And I feel like I'm trying to be an overachiever, but there's a tactic to how I'm doing this. I've picked 5 books in total. 3 of them are shorter books and 2 of them are books that are a little bit longer, but I already started this book. I'm like 100 pages in, and these 3 other books are between 280 to 300 pages, but they're like bigger text and they're smaller, so I feel like I can get through them. So let's run through the pile of books that I curated for myself for this readathon. The first book is The Lantern of Lost Memories. Pause. It's so hard to talk about these books when I already read them, so I'm trying to remember what I said on Saturday morning when I originally recorded this intro. Let me get back into character. I talked about this book when I did my little TBR list for the first 6 months of 2025. I just feel like this is a very cute cover. And yeah, I'm really excited to read it. We'll see how it goes. I know how it went already. I already know how it went. I also have Orbital. I'm excited for this book, mostly because it's about astronauts. I'm not really a space person. You know how when boys are little, they're like, I want to be an astronaut. I wanted to be a fashion designer, but I am intrigued to learn more about how astronauts live in space. And it seems like from the synopsis that we get an insight into that. So I'm excited to get into this book. I also have Imago by Octavia Butler. I'm super excited to read this book because that means I'll have finished a series of 3 books by Octavia Butler. She's an amazing writer. My biggest gripe with myself as an individual is that I haven't read more of her work. So I'm excited to finish this book because after I finish that series, that means I can read other books by her without feeling like I have to finish the series. The book that I'm going to start my 24-hour readathon with is Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. This book so far is really good. I'm 100 pages in. It is a mystery thriller. This was one of my book of the month selections for February. They gave you like an advanced copy kind of because it came out later in February. I feel like I should have read this before I read the other book I had selected from book of the month in February, but the other book was really good. And this one's turning out to be really good, so I'm just gonna forgive myself for not having read it at the beginning of February. Okay, already there's 4 books and there's only 24 hours to read, but I did select one more book that I'm putting into this pile just in case I finish those 4 books and I have to read another book. I don't want to be like stuck and thinking like, oh my God, what am I gonna read now? So I've selected Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. This was my September 2024 pick for book of the month. I have a pile of books of the month that I have to get through by the end of this summer just because in my head I'm like, I don't want to keep buying books of the month if I'm not actually reading them, and I've been making really good progress. This is the next one that I told myself I have to read this month, and then I have 2 other ones that I want to read later in March. So these are the 5 books that I will hopefully be getting to. In reality, I think I'm gonna get through 4 books. I don't think I'll get through Blue Sisters, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna go set up my living room so that I can start reading, and yeah, I'm super excited. We'll see how this goes. I already know how it goes because it's Monday and I've lost my freaking intro to this video. Thank you for sitting through that. Let's get started with this vlog. I ran out of coffee, so I'm gonna get more coffee. However, My lovely boyfriend went to go pick up breakfast sandwiches for us, and he's bringing me an iced latte. But I do like to start off my morning with hot coffee. And I like hot coffee when I'm reading. Like if I'm reading at home, something about holding a mug as you're reading a book just really does it for me. I'm reading this and I'm also listening to it, and I'm glad I am because I didn't realize that this takes place in London when I first bought it. I thought it took place like in the United States, but the narrator has a British accent, and I started reading it without the audiobook because I forgot that I had reserved it on Libby. For context, like sometimes when I'm reading, if I'm able to listen to it and read as I go, like it just sticks in my brain better. I don't know if that's crazy. Some people have told me that that sounds crazy, but it just makes sense to me. Anyways, when I first started reading it, I wasn't listening to the audiobook as I read. They would say things like copper for a police officer, and I was like, why would they say like that? And then I realized that I was mentally just reading through locations and not putting two and two together that it takes place in London. But when I started listening to the audiobook, I was like, oh, that's why she has a British accent, because they're in London. I also didn't give you guys a recap of what this book is about. So in the beginning of the book, we're introduced to Camila, and she is a mother who is about to get back to work from being on maternal leave because she had a daughter. We start off with her waking up on her first day back, and she like has to take her daughter to daycare, and she has to do all these things, but her husband is like nowhere to be found. His name is Luke. Right off the bat, she's like, that's kind of weird. He knew that this was my first day back, but you know what? I'm not gonna make a big deal about it. Maybe he needed to take some little morning stroll or something. She does all her chores. She drops off Polly. She starts texting him. He's not replying. She has like an inkling that something's up. She gets to work and she's like texting him. She's like, hey, like I dropped off Polly at the daycare and I'm doing great. How are you? And on the news, she hears that there's a hostage situation going on, but she thinks something of it. She goes about her day. Plot twist, police officers show up at her job and they're like, hey, we need to talk to you. By the way, your husband is the one that started this hostage situation. And she's like, there's no freaking way. Like, are you serious? Like, and then as she's like realizing this, she's like making connections to him being like a little on edge recently. Like he was getting very worked up over like minute stuff. And then she's like, wait, my husband, what? Like he's doing crazy stuff. And for some reason I thought that this book was gonna follow the siege for most of the book. I don't know why, because that doesn't make any sense. After the hostage situation ends, Luke disappears and we don't know anything about him. And there's a time jump between part 1 and part 2 of 7 years. And right now, Cam is finding out things about like what happened, because like one of the things about the hostage situation is that like there was a lot of loose ends. But to me, like in my head, I'm like, damn, 7 years, like that's crazy. And to backtrack a little, the book is told from the perspective of Cam and Niall, who is the hostage negotiator, and he did a really botched the job, but he's like really zeroed in on this case. So I feel like I have a bias against Niall. I'm like, I don't like you. You're being suspicious. You're being weird. You're like infringing on this woman's privacy because they're still like tracking her phone calls and all that. So it's not looking good to me for Cam either way. I'm far enough in the book where I feel like I know where it's going, and I feel like I have a pretty strong theory that's evidence-based and based on facts that they've shared so far that I think is what's gonna happen, but I don't know. Maybe that's not what happens. And I could see this being turned into a really good either movie or like TV series. I'd watch that. It's good. All right, I did take a little break because I know that this might look like a simple breakfast sandwich, but it's not. It's just like so delicious. I'm not sure if the coffee shop we go to makes the bread or buys it from somewhere, but if they make it, it's so good. If they buy it, it's still good, and they're great at choosing bread. He also brought me a latte. It's oat milk with hazelnut and caramel. So good. This is the third time this week that we have these sandwiches. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm actually not embarrassed. For 2 seconds, I was like, oh my God, this is the third time we're having it. And my boyfriend was like, I'm gonna have to walk in there, and if it's the same workers, they're gonna be like, damn girl, you're here for the third time this week. And I felt an inkling of shame for 2 seconds, and then it went away. I was like, I don't care, this is good. I've gotten to a point in the book where we meet a character that's like brand new, but this character has like new information that is important to Camila, and that information is gonna give her more answers. I'm starting to see that maybe I should read more mystery and thriller books, because I can't put this down. I had to put it down to come get my sandwich because I don't want it to get cold, but I'm like eating it up. And even though this is fiction, this is related to crime. And I don't tend to enjoy consuming true crime or the way that people consume it nowadays, because sometimes people start making theories about it. And I feel personally that like, I can't really do that because it just feels icky. Like that true crime actually happened to someone, like someone actually died most of the time. And it's like, I don't want to be theorizing over someone's like livelihood. Like they're dead. However, this book is fiction. So in my head, I'm like, what happened? All of that to say, I think my theory might be wrong, but this book is eating. And it was one of the book of the month's picks for February. And it was a newer release. So this book is brand new. I've heard some people talk about it and most of it was positive. So I think I'm agreeing with it. I'm scared that the ending is gonna piss me off, but we'll see. My theory was wrong. Okay, actually, I don't know if my theory was wrong or not because we just got a development, but pretty much everything the cops did in part 1, wrong. They were wrong. They acted on impulse, and I just finished chapter 36. They were wrong, which I kind of assumed because the way that it's framed in part 1, like everything the cops do, they're like, we think we're doing the right thing, we don't know. And also like human error, but also like they're so, I don't want to give spoilers. I don't want to give spoilers, but I think my theory might still have some basis. The cops were wrong. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I didn't see that coming. I kind of did actually. I'm lying. No, I didn't see the twist coming, but I did feel like something was up. This book is crazy. This book is crazy. It's too good. It's too good. I'm gonna keep reading. All right. Damn, we are 4 hours in, but we've encountered our first problem. I was so excited to continue reading the book that I had to go to the bathroom and I rushed and I stubbed my toe, my pinky toe, so hard on our bed frame that I had to sit on the bed for like 5 minutes because it hurt so much. But I survived and I am not going to die from that, but I am, how many pages actually is this? I'm like 34 pages away from finishing this book, and 34 pages, and now I'm concerned that we're gonna have to wrap up everything really fast in 30 pages. But maybe that's how books work. I don't know, I'm not an author, I'm just saying 30 pages to wrap everything up feels a little crazy. I did finish Famous Last Words, but I took the sleeve off, and I love the book of the months because don't look at that, it's just water, but like the covers and the colors always look so cute and they always kind of match the actual sleeve. So I just really enjoy having these books because they look so pretty. Anyways, I finished this. I know I mentioned about an hour ago, for y'all a few seconds because you're watching this video that I edited, that 30 pages felt like a really fast wrap up for an entire book, especially when your book is 320 pages long. I just feel like 30 pages, I don't know if it's just me, I don't know if it's just my thing, 30 pages feels like a really fast wrap up, especially for a plot that has so many things happening. It just felt like 30 pages, felt like, all right, we're gonna end. However, that doesn't mean that the quality of the writing was not on par with everything else in the book. Personally, for me, this was a great book. I really do think that Gillian McAllister did her big one with this book, but because of the 30-page thing, and I think it's just a personal gripe, I don't know if anyone agrees, this is a 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. This is the first book I read from her. I think she did a really good job crafting her story. Some of my theories were right, but what I had thought was gonna be what happened wasn't exactly what happened, but it was great. I literally almost broke my pinky toe because I was running to the bathroom so that I can get back to read this. I'm going to read Imago by Octavia E. Butler. I'm super excited to get into this because it means I will have finished the series Xenogenesis. The first 2 books are great, love them, so I'm excited to read this. And then I think I'm gonna make dinner, and while I make dinner, I'm gonna listen to my audiobook, which I consider reading. I know some people don't consider audiobooks reading, but to me, I think it's reading. And if you don't agree, I don't know what to tell you. I'm on my way to check the mail, and I obviously wasn't walking as much in my apartment because it's much smaller, but I'm walking and my little toe hurts. Girl, I stubbed it so hard, and now I'm concerned. I'm like, did something happen to my little toe? Because it hurts so much right now when I'm walking. Guys, if I broke my toe, I'm sending Gillian McAllister my medical bill because this is technically her fault. Well, that was a flop because there was nothing in the mail, and now I'm waiting for my popcorn. You can hear it in the background. Period. Anyways, I also want, ooh. I also want a little bevy. I love Izzy's, and we typically get the green apple ones, but they ran out of those at our grocery store, so we got the strawberry ones. These are so good. My boyfriend said that these taste like strawberry Fanta if that didn't give you diabetes. Exactly. And it tastes really good. Oh my gosh. The microwave's like, take the popcorn out. Ugh, so good. I think I have like 18 hours left. I'm gonna try to read more than 12 hours today, and then whatever's left over I'll do tomorrow. And I'm gonna get my popcorn. Yeah! Also, there was no reason for me to check my mail because it was empty, but I feel like that's good because it gives me a little walk. Y'all thought I was reading? I got y'all good. I got y'all good. I opened it to a random page. I wasn't even reading. I'm 10 hours in at this point, and I made it through part 1 of Imago. And I thought we were gonna follow the same characters from adulthood, right? Because this is the 3rd book, but we were introduced to another child of Lilith. Like, really quick synopsis. First book, world ended 250 years ago. Lilith has to wake up humans so that they can procreate with the Uloi from the Oankali and make a better human race. Second book, adulthood rights, we follow Akin, who's one of Lilith's sons, and he is the first male human construct. So the human constructs are half human, half Oankali, but the Oankali, you're either male, female, or Uloi. So when you're a human construct, you have to go through metamorphosis and you're either male or female. In this book, we meet Jodas, and Jodas is the first ever human construct who, instead of being either male or female, is Uloi, which is the 3rd gender. I think I said this in my video for my February wrap up. I think the easiest way to like wrap our heads around it as people is like they're non-binary, but they don't use they them pronouns, they use it pronouns. So this is the first time that a human construct is Uloi. We find out in part 1 that humans and the Oankali had made an agreement that if there was an Uloi human construct, they would leave Earth and bring them back to the ship that the Oankali had kept the humans in. They're supposed to do that, but they're like, no, we're gonna break the rules for Jodas. I feel like there's a bunch of red flags, like why they are supposed to keep him away and why he should not be interacting with humans, human constructs, and the Oankali. Something really important in the world in this book is that humans are sterile. It's not important because it's a good thing. It's important because the Oankali are trying to keep humans from reproducing. Already, Jodas gave a human woman, the ability to get pregnant again, which is crazy. And like, that should be a big red flag. So I finished part 1 and I'm like scared that something bad is gonna happen because they mentioned like, oh, like we're supposed to send him back to the ship because he should not be an Uloi. He should have became either gender. I need to get up and walk because I've been sitting and I'm starting to realize that the 24-hour readathons are not necessarily hard because it's a lot of reading. It's because you're sitting down for so long. I'm like, I need to get up and move my feet because I don't even feel tired. I just feel like I'm not moving. So I'm like, it is now nighttime outside and I was listening to my audiobook while I cooked. And now I'm gonna take my second little break. This might be a longer break, I fear. I have like a little bit less than a quarter left in Imago and it's really interesting. I really like it. I thought I would be further in it, but I've just been like trying to take it slow and actually pay attention to everything that's happening in the book. Octavia Butler, her writing is really rich and very detailed, and I feel like there's a lot of information that she shares with you. So I've been a little bit slower, but I'm gonna eat dinner and then I'm gonna keep reading. I do have an update. Ugh! It is about to be midnight, but I finished Imago by Octavia Butler. Great final installation to her series. Mwah, chef's kiss. The other 2 books are told in 3rd person, but this one was told in 1st person. And at first I was like, that's kind of weird, but I think the ending only works if it's in 1st person. This woman had stuff to say and she knew how to say them, so yeah, I could go to bed, but I feel like I got 2 more hours of reading in me. And then tomorrow I'll finish the last 6 hours. I don't know how people do this nonstop, but I got a little second wind and I'm like, oh, I can read for 2 more hours. And I have 2 books that are really small, so I'm like, maybe I can get through half of one of them. let me choose the next book. I could either do The Lantern of Lost Memories or Orbital. I'm kind of more excited to start The Lantern of Lost Memories. So I think I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna read for 2 more hours and then I'm gonna go to bed. I read at home all day and I didn't mind it because I got to hang out with my boyfriend. But I think tomorrow I do wanna go to a coffee shop. So I will not be checking in 2 hours because I'm gonna be so real with y'all. After I finish reading for 2 hours right now, I'm going to bed. But I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hey, good night. Happy Saturday. Good morning, it's Sunday. Excuse the hair, I literally am still in bed. I went to sleep at 2 a.m. last night. In all honesty, I should have gone to bed at 12 because I read 2 hours of this. And this morning, I was just thinking like, did I actually process what I was reading? Or was I too tired to process it? I read a couple of hours in bed. I really do want to get in the habit of not reading in my apartment all the time just to switch it up and keep it exciting. I have 4 hours of reading left, so I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go take some sunshine outside to get some vitamin D because I feel like I need it because I felt like a vampire yesterday just being inside all day. Then I'm gonna make some coffee because even though I'm going to a coffee shop, I need some caffeine right now. And then I'm gonna get ready and head over. I think I'm gonna finish this book and then Orbital, and I think I might have like an hour to start Blue Sisters, but we'll see how that goes. Work! I think actually I'm gonna change because I don't feel like this is the vibe I'm trying to give. I like the shorts I'm wearing because I'm wearing black shorts, but this t-shirt is not giving the give that I'm trying to give today. Damn, the crown's hurting. Oh my god. You know what? Might as well. Alright, I'm back in my car. I finished reading The Lantern of Lost Memories. Mwah, chef's kiss. I feel like if you like Before the Coffee Gets Cold or even The Midnight Library, you might like this book as well. I feel like the concept is similar. I feel like it's a different approach of like revisiting your life. The book follows 3 different characters who are tasked with finding images from their life, and they choose 1 per year. So our first character is 92, for example, and she chooses 92 pictures that encompass her life. And Hirasaka runs the Photoshop pretty much. And one of the things that happens is that some of the pictures that people have are blurry, but Hirasaka explains that memories are kind of like pictures. The more you use them or like the more you have them out, sometimes they fade. So they're able to revisit that specific moment in their life. They can't change anything, they can't interact with the people that are there, but they're able to recapture that image. And through visiting those moments in their life, we learn a lot about these characters. I think it's just such a great way to tell a character's story, and what we're able to learn about these characters through them visiting this moment. Mwah, chef's kiss. It was so good. I personally have to revisit Before the Coffee Gets Cold because when I read it, I just didn't like really get into it, but this to me is so good. This book is what maybe I wish Before the Coffee Gets Cold had been when I first read it. It was such a cozy, nice read, and I loved that you got different perspectives throughout the book. There are parts that are told in the third person. There are parts where the characters are telling you the story that led them to that moment, that memory in their head. And then towards the end, part of the book is told in first person. The different perspectives like just worked for the story. I just really enjoyed it. I think this is my favorite book that I read this weekend. And I literally texted my friend, like, you have to read this as soon as I finished it. I have 2 more hours of reading left. I grabbed another coffee. And I had texted my boyfriend that I was here, and he was like, can you get me a sandwich? So I got him a sandwich. Y'all saw how good that freaking sandwich looks. This coffee shop is not a sandwich shop, but they have the best freaking sandwich ever. Like, every time I bring a friend here, I'm like, their sandwiches rock. And they do. They're just so good. They season their tomatoes, which I need to start doing at home because I think that's like the key. The seasoned tomato just makes a huge difference. So I got my boyfriend that sandwich, and I am getting a little hungry because I've been sitting and reading for literally 2.5 hours from when you guys last saw me eat that sandwich. So I got myself an avocado toast, and you could either get it just the avocado, or you get it with microgreens or tomatoes. And I told y'all those seasoned tomatoes are so good. So I got my avocado toast with those tomatoes. I don't think I'm even gonna get to pick up Blue Sisters, and I might get towards the end of Orbital. I don't think I'll actually get through the entire thing because I had to reread the first 2 hours of this book in the morning. But I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed this book, and it's such a cozy, amazing story. And I also think that this is a lesson for me in the future when I do this again. If I'm gonna split my reading into 2 days and I'm too tired to read, just go to freaking bed, Angel. But I digress. I'm gonna go home and continue reading and see how far I get into Orbital. We're almost at the conclusion of this 24-hour readathon. I lied to y'all. It's nice outside, so I decided to come read outside. Also, I feel kind of cute, so hey. We finished reading for 24 hours. Like I said, I knew I wasn't gonna finish Orbital, but I am 54 pages in. I'll probably finish it either later today or tomorrow. It follows 6 astronauts. I think there's 2 Russian astronauts. There's an American astronaut, there's a British astronaut, there's an Italian astronaut, a Japanese astronaut. I think there's 2 Russian astronauts because there's 6 in total. So far, I've learned very interesting things about like being an astronaut, because I assume Samantha Harvey had to do research about how being an astronaut works because she's so detailed in her prose and the narrative she's building. There are 2 things I learned about being an astronaut today. One of them disgusted me, the other one was really interesting to me. In the beginning of the book, Roman, one of the astronauts, explains in detail how like in their training they are told they have to create their own concept of time. Here on Earth we have morning because the sun comes out, and then night because the sun goes down. That doesn't really happen in space. So he talks in detail about how they have to reframe their brains and literally in the morning when they wake up tell themselves like, oh, this is the morning of a new day. And they really push that. It just made me think, like, imagine having to tell yourself like it's morning even though it's dark outside. And on top of everything that you have to do in space, like no gravity, very tight vessel, having to like use the restroom as you're floating along, and then on top of that having to reframe your brain to be like, oh, it's daytime even though it's dark outside. That felt really crazy. And then the other thing that is mentioned, which I don't know if that's how it actually works, but it was mentioned in the book and it disgusted me. In one of the parts of the book, they mentioned that if they used a robot to go to space, there was a lot of things that they wouldn't have to worry about. For example, they wouldn't have to worry about training an astronaut to be able to use the restroom while they're floating. They wouldn't have to send out a shuttle with food and stuff like that. And then when they talked about not having to train a robot to use the bathroom, they're like, they don't have to like teach them how to pee on the spaceship and then recycle their pee so that they have water. So I don't know if the author is saying that that's what happens when astronauts pee, but that feels kind of disgusting to me, and it was just a little bit too much to digest. Other than that, I'm really enjoying the book. It's very like existential and cerebral in the sense that these astronauts are kind of going through it. One of the things I keep noticing is that like a lot of the thoughts they have are centered around how much they miss Earth, which makes sense. And it also makes me feel like being an astronaut probably sucks, because in one of the parts of this book, one of the astronauts making like a list of like reassuring things, her first thing is the Earth below. Yeah, it's just a lot. It makes me think of like all those kids that are like, I want to be an astronaut when I grow up. Maybe you don't, because some of the things these people have to think about and some of the things they have to go through, like they talk about how like when you're in space, your bone density decreases, so your bones could become brittle. I don't know if I would risk all of that to go to space. So even though I didn't finish this, I finished 3 books in 24 hours. and I got through 1/4 of this. This was fun. I feel like I would do this again. I feel like I would plan it better, and I feel like I would pick books that are maybe shorter, like this one and The Lantern of Lost Memories. I also think that rather than trying to catch up on my reading and do a crazy challenge like this, moving forward, I should plan an hour a day to read. So that's probably what I'll do next week. And I'll probably go somewhere to read, because I noticed that when I went to read at a coffee shop this morning, it was easier to stay concentrated. I guess this is also the outro to the video. If you made it this far into the video and watched, thank you for reading with me. I mean, you weren't reading, you were watching, but thank you for watching the video. Let me know in the comments down below if I read a book you liked, if you have any recommendations, and remember to like and subscribe. See y'all.